We are ready to begin the second half of the event. May I request everyone to please settle down? Request the MCCI team members to please help everyone settle down. We are ready to start in the next 2 minutes. May I request everyone to please settle down? The speakers are with us. We will begin as soon as everyone settles down. At the end of the day, during the tea break, there will be ample time to network and also visit the exhibitors. So may we request everyone to settle down so we can start the program on time. The participants who are at the exhibitor area, may we request you to settle down, please. Welcome back, everyone. We trust all of you had a great lunch break and are recharged for the rest of the day. Now we have a fireside chat on demand-driven skill development with active industry and alumni participation. On stage, we have Mr. Dinanath Kulkar, Professor of Practice, COEP Tech University and VJTI, and former SVP TCS, and Mr. Prashant Girbane, Director General MCCI. We are ready to begin the session. May I request everyone to please settle down?
Thank you, Madhura. Before I start the interaction with Dina, a couple of things with the audience. First of all, I work for this organization, and so does Dina, is connected in some sense. So if any one of you are directly, indirectly, softly, or otherwise, it's kind of compelled you to sit here, please raise your hand and step out. Number two, all the exit doors are open and they'll continue to be open, which means that choice would continue to be there. That's the second one. Third one, at the end of this session particularly, I know that the whole day is wonderful. If you feel you benefited something, treat that just as a bonus. With all of those disclaimers, we'll start the conversation. Dinanath Kolkar is someone whom I know for a long time. Today, and I'll continue to address as Dina because that's how I've addressed him all the time. Dina is serving as a professor of practice in College of Engineering, Pune. He also is connected with MCCIA. He chairs the IT-ITS committee of MCCIA. In Pune International Center, Dina is very active on certain tracks related to technology and innovation. There are multiple entities where Dina is proactively involved and contributing. He's one of those very few givers I know who has constantly been connecting with people and trying to give what he can. Also, a quick quiz question while I continue to introduce Dina. Anyone who has more than 1,000 employees working in their organization? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, another one. Anyone who has more than 10,000 people working in your organization? 1, 2. Anyone who has more than 50,000 people? This is the last one, trust me. 2. Okay. This one is a very obvious one, so that's okay. So Dina at one point in time had only about how many people working for him? 100,000, 90,000, something like that, right? So only about 100,000 people working for him in his organization. That's what Dina has managed at one point in time. And we have worked together in the same team. And at one point in time, we have pitched to the same client. So there is a whole lot we know about each other. And we meet each other quite often. So I was telling my colleagues, if people are enjoying their lunch, allow them to. People are networking, allow them to. Two of us can talk in any other room also. But all that aside, I'll come to get to hear a few things from Dina. Dina, while you're working with TCS, one of the best organizations to work for, right? As a Tata organization or as TCS, you had a huge global role. Lots of people to report into you, a lot of responsibilities, and you have been a fast tracker in TCS as well. ये सब ठीक ही चल रहा था तर हा अट्टहास कशासाठी की तिथनं उठायचं आणि दुसरं काहीतरी करायचं. You could continue in English. That's okay.
Yeah, I think at some stage one realizes that there are a lot more bigger problems to address. And while I was associated with academia for almost 30 years, I've been associated with COEP as a professor long time back. But I realized that unless people from industry don't just go and do visiting faculty or these type of roles, that's good enough, but it is not really going to make that much amount of an impact. So I think I looked at it more from an impact point of view, that I needed to spend a considerable amount of my time helping out on the academia side. And only if I could step out of corporate, I could do that. So I think that was one of the key drivers. The other was I used to work very closely with Mr. Kohli. And Mr. Kohli used to always lament the fact that India focuses a lot on the IITs and the IICs or the NITs, but there are a lot of amazing talent which is there in other colleges which is not getting attention. So I decided to focus on colleges like my alma mater, BJTI, and COAP.
Awesome. We'll continue the conversation. I'm requesting my colleagues to make sure that those who need to speak at the far end, they get a special room, or after our session, they can arrange a session here. Those at the back end would need to talk. I'll welcome them to come here after this session. Or fortunately, there are 14 different rooms here. You can pick up one of those. I'll also ask my colleagues to make sure that the other doors of the other rooms are closed while the exit door is always open. Dina, you talked about Mr. Kohli. That's Mr. FC Kohli. Some of you all know of Mr. FC Kohli, and you referred to the interaction with him, who was known as the doyen of India's IT industry. You decided to pick up the role of professor of practice. Some of us have heard of what that role is, but I don't think people actually know what exactly does it entail to be a professor of practice. What you can do, what you can't do, how does it impact, and what are the areas where it could go wrong, both sides.
Yeah, I think my case was a little unique in the sense that I stepped out of corporate and then took up professor practice role. But if you look at the Western world, especially in Germany, it is a very normal practice for people to actually start focusing on academia right in their 40s, where they have roughly about 15, 20 years of experience, and then they can actually bring in and they continue doing that in parallel to their setup. So I think it was a good step that the UGC had taken. However, to implement it, so they make this announcement and say, look, we are going to enable colleges to recruit professor of practice. What does it mean? How does it actually get implemented was left to colleges. I think some of the colleges took a much longer time to get it approved that we will appoint professor of practice. And something interesting happened while the academic setup started progressing on it. I realized that corporates had not understood what it meant. So they had to actually make policy changes because it is almost like an parallel employment. And you need to make that provision in the rules and stuff like that. So I think it is important to understand that whenever we come up with these type of things, active industry academia collaboration did not really happen in professor of practice. So there are many people who have reached out to me after I took up the professor of practice role as to how they can potentially look at taking up such a role. So answer to this is it is still in the nascent stages, but it has tremendous amount of potential because I see from just my one academic year experience that I could add a lot more value, and there are many others who can also play a role. More importantly, I think when you take up this role, it's a responsibility. It is not a visiting professor or a workshop you do in the college and things like that, but you are committed towards certain goals. And I feel that responsibility is what we should really be able to deliver. And you can look at various, you can do technical teaching, you can actually help the institute on transformation, you can look at research related. So there are various things you could do as a professor of practice. But I feel that one more thing, which is there is a limitation number of years, 15 to 20. There are smart kids who are 10 years experience who want to get into teaching. I think the flexibility of experience should not be made, like there should be more flexibility.
Thank you, Dina. Mike, ready to like. I have also a question to you, Bharatji. Is there, how do you see what's happening with professor of practice role? And we'll continue to do the discussions so that we get a bit more interactive one, right?
So,
and do you already have these people, professors? How do you see it?
So, Prashantji, I speak on my behalf. There are other institutes over here who would have done better than me, but we have not yet successfully implemented POP models because of one, we don't know what to do about it. Because one, we have a respect that a professor is also a professor because of his skill. It is not because he has no other job. He is a skillful person who has knowledge and the ability to teach well, and so he is a teacher. I respect industry experts of domain knowledge, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are expert in teaching. But with that discounting, we want to welcome this POP model over here. I think the confusion lies on what we can do about it on the FSR level. FSR is faculty student ratio, which is a ingredient that many of us in academicians revolve around, and there are regulations around it from the UGC as well as AICT. So, is POP allowed in FSR or not? There is some confusion. Many of us say no, and therefore we don't want to add a cost to us, because if it is not allowed in FSR, then
Understood. Yeah,
Then
that's
there's
an
a cost
additional cost.
element around it. But would love to learn from Dinanath of how COEP has benefited from his experience and him being POP. And I'm sure we'll all learn. And if possible, cost will not be an important feature.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. Is there anyone else who is a faculty here who has implemented POP? You implemented. So let's hear from Taritaji also what her experience has been, and then we could come back to Dina. He has a lot more to share, but we'll just get to hear.
Yes, of course, we are here to understand from you because you are in one of the best universities today, COEP. But very good afternoon, everybody, and I represent the Indira Group of Institutes and Indira University. So we have implemented this professor of practice thing very nicely at Indira as of now, at the Indira Group of Institutions. Every department has got very good people from the industry, and basically they are people from the industry who want to get into teaching. So they have a passion for teaching. They have some knowledge about teaching. They have already been doing a lot of visiting or something at different institutions and colleges. And that's the reason that they want to come full time. So we do have a lot of them at Indira. And now that we have one part of us has become an Indira University, we have taken that percentage to 20% of professors of practice at Indira University. So looking forward, to have wonderful people like you. And we have seen our experiences that yes, the industry people do get an amazing, plethora of experience in a very different way. And they get to learn from the current professors and teachers, and the professors and teachers get to learn from them. So I think it's a very win-win situation, not just for the group, but also for the people, the teachers and professors in the group, and the ones coming from the industry. Their passion to teach also gets fueled. So I think we have done it pretty successfully at Indira.
Great.
So I completely support this thing.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else?
Yeah, they could keep it there. That's okay. That's a great osmosis. Thank you, Taritaji. Anyone else who wanted to share? We'll take one here quickly, and then we'll come back to you after a few more questions to Dina. We'll get back to you.
So I'm Dr. Sandeep from ASM Group of Institutes. And in fact, we were talking to ASIT since 15, 20 years.
Do you have the POPs
Yes,
now?
we are doing the POP.
And how is it
so
working?
20% we are allowed. And mostly
How many have you got now?
20%.
Okay.
So we are running mainly the MBA courses, and there we found that it works very well.
In the MBA courses?
In the MBA courses.
Anyone on engineering or technology side?
Not yet. We don't have the engineering.
don't
We're
have
starting
engineering.
this year. But in the management balance, it has worked very well for us. Not only they come in and teach some theory, but they give the actual inputs and also help the students to become employable. So in
Thank
that
you.
sense, it works a lot. The only restriction there, what we see as far as FRA is concerned, we are allowed only 85,000
Okay.
max to be given to a professor of practice.
Right,
And
understand.
that's where probably we will not get good people if that is the cap which has been put in.
Sure. Thank you. I'm sure Dina would inspire more people to not worry about money and do this. Coming back to Dina, and I'll come back to you. So Dina, you looked at in your own experience, right? And just trying to give it some color to it. How many hours a month, a week, or a year are you or another POP is expected to spend or
So
invest?
you can, you have the flexibility. So I have a colleague of mine who is doing it pretty much full time. She's one of the best experts on VLSI design. Teaches, is shaping up a proposal as a principal investigator and things like that. She's doing pretty much the 9 yards. I chose to look at a particular problem and then create a proposal to the vice chancellor saying that I will help you address this particular problem. So slightly different approach. And the problem I picked up was something which was a huge demand in the industry, which was not necessarily being looked at by academia very proactively. And the demand was the semiconductor and the electronics industry. So India is slated to have a huge demand and boom as far as the electronic semiconductor industry is concerned. However, today, if you actually go and meet students, and I did this with second year, third year, fourth year students, how many of you really want to be in the electronics industry? The number was about 20%. So only 20% really want to work in this industry. Rest all are just transient, want to go to IT. So my first objective was to look at addressing this problem and getting them to understand there is a huge opportunity which is waiting for them and which needs to be addressed. So I actually started working on this particular problem. So I have never done professionally any work in electronics. I've studied electronics. I've been close to this industry, but never have done this. So I decided to take it as a challenge to look at in this academic year, can we get to at least 50% students to be convinced that they will make careers in electronics? That was the objective. COEP had doubled its intake on electronics from 100 to almost 200, has already happened. I've, thankfully, MCCI has played a very active role, and MCCI's MECF setup has played a very collaborative role in getting a lot of the experts involved. Pretty much all the top industry folks from the electronics and semiconductor industry from Pune has supported my efforts. And we have got to a shape now where we have a clear vision for the department and what we want to do. We are talking to IIT Bombay as well as IIT Madras as collaboration. We are talking to at least 10 universities in Germany. So we've done a lot of these things, which I feel that with my experience, I could bring the power of collaboration and network and the chamber and the connects that I had with either MIT or AICT to the fore. So I think that is very important. I do interact with the students, but very important aspect which I found, and I'm very happy to report on the NEP success. I actually have driven the entire transformation with student first approach. So every time I wanted to do an initiative, I got a group of students. I'm thinking about this. What do you think? Let's do this. So they say we want to focus on electronics in automotive sector. We want to focus on medtech, and we drove initiatives around them in a big way. And that has actually made a lot of difference. Now there are other colleges which are having electronics reaching out to understand how we have transformed. One last point, transformation requires mindset transformation. And I had to spend a lot of time with the faculty members, which I feel as a visiting faculty or an adjunct faculty, I will never be able to do till I'm in the midst of it. But we brought in practices from the corporate world on mindset transformation, doing offsite, doing strategy meets and stuff like that, so that they can create a collective vision. So just to give you a perspective that the demand which is there in the industry was what I was focusing on in a predominant way.
Great. No, thank you. I have a couple of questions, but what I'm going to do is there's also time limit that I'm told. So I'm just going to ask audiences if you have any question. And I'm not bad at cutting short if I start listening a bhashan, right? So yeah, a quick question.
I would like to ask one question. Since this professor of practice is a new entry in academics, how about having a structured curriculum for industry people to get into professor of practice? So any kind of no, I have a supplementary question to it, and why I'm asking is it will also help the academic institutions to onboard good candidates who
Understood.
have completed such process.
Very good question. Thank you. We'll get to, so then I will get to hear a couple of questions so that we could. Anyone else who had a question? Yes, please, on the left-hand side. We'll hear 2 or 3 questions, then we'll respond to them.
Good afternoon. My name is Murli Pillai. I'm a quiz master, and I conduct quizzes for colleges.
What's the question, sir?
Okay. The question is, I've done a quiz for Nokia where they did a collaboration with some 40 engineering colleges. How do we, this is what is to be done. So how are you planning to do something in this area where the industry, academia, collaboration with companies and colleges?
Understood. Thank you. Anyway, yeah, okay, the lady there first. We'll get to both the ladies, then we'll come to you, sir.
So I have one question that when you are handling so many initiatives and so many work, so how to time management, and when something is not having that much result, means something is failure, then how you again start up doing things, because this is
Understood,
actually basic thing that we want to know, because we are facing the same problem. So that's why I'm asking.
Are you a
question.
faculty?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Understood. We'll come here.
So Bhagyashree, incidentally, is one of the most active faculty as part of our MCCI cybersecurity.
SIT.
My question here is I represent academia to the industry. Since we are trying to bridge the gap between industry and academia, Now we are trying to create, or AICT has made an implication to have professor of practice in academia. I think industry should also urge to give some space to the faculty members, so both the ends things will be vice versa.
Understood.
It's
Thank
not
you.
only one way. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the last one we'll take. Then we'll come back again later because we would have a limited memory to remember 3-4 questions.
Namaste. My name is Samir. The question is, do you still feel a need of having training and placement cell in the colleges?
Okay. Thank you. Good. You take whichever ones, the ones you have forgotten, I'll remind you.
No, so Ashish's point is valid. That in fact I was having a discussion with the chairperson for the HR committee at MCCI to exactly address the question that you are having. We get to meet a lot of mid-career people who are wanting to look at doing a second innings or a parallel innings. How do we actually nurture them and look at that? Been also having discussions with a few academicians on providing some sort of an additional academic interventions for people in industry. So definitely it is on the cards. We'll be happy to take some inputs on that. Sir had asked a question about industry collaboration. I think more important is that academia has not been reaching out to industry. That's one of the things which I felt. And I will link it to your question about training and placement officer. What happened is many of the industry interactions got limited to TPOs and they focus more on the jobs, and the academicians lost the connect with the industry. So one of the things which I benefited from earlier, I used to have very good connect with the computer science HOD of COEP. And every year I used to have 3 students and I used to tell Sawant sir, that give me the 3 best kids. And he used to come every month to do a review. Okay. So I think that connect has got lost. So I think TPOs are important because you need to have traceability, connect, and all of data has to be maintained. But academicians maintaining connect with the industry and also looking at participating in what they are doing is a very crucial angle. So I think there is a need for us to really address that aspect. So one thing, and especially I've got help from MCCI. We said these are the areas where we need help for automotive and electronics, MCCI, MECF setup, or Reno Electronics, or Bajaj, or Tata Autocom. They've all been enabled for us, right? I think it's a natural process but it can't be done by me everywhere. Every academician has to think that for my students, this industry is relevant, and hence I need to take that step.
The question around the POP is one side, but on the other side, also allowing faculty to go to the industry.
Yeah. So this has been a practice in many we do have. So we have visiting faculty members coming and working as part of industry, as part of TCS research. We used to have people. But the point which is there is this practice is very strongly followed in the US, for example. A professor gets only 9 months salary. The 3 months salary that professor has to earn from industry. The point is that is academicians in India willing to take that step? In fact, Prashant has actually offered that as part of the MCCI discussions that we have been having. He's been offering that. In fact, I remember when I had got the Vice Chancellor of COEP come here, he actually offered saying that give me 1 or 2 professors who are willing to come and work as part of industry.
And have I got so far?
Huh?
Have I got any?
No, we have not, because it's a natural thing. Why should I actually break certain things which are working well? So I think it's an important thing.
You believe are working.
Yeah.
If it's working, you as in whosoever.
No, but I think it will help. There are so one of the things which I am doing now, I have created tracks within the electronics department. So I'm telling the faculty members to go along with the students when they are doing their projects. So automotive electronics, Scheffler Technologies, another of our members, they are offering internships for not just the student, but also the faculty to actually spend time with them, which is a good step. I think it's a beginning. I think we should definitely look at increasing more of that.
Thank you, Dina. Thanks for answering all the questions. I know there's time up, but I'm going to take 2 comments from the audience specific to individuals.
I'll just like to just add, because I just talked about electronics, the work which I'm doing, but 3 other areas which I have been very closely associated. So MCCI has been running an initiative on cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is not necessarily looked at as a glamorous profession, but there are 3.5 million jobs open on cybersecurity, which is half the population of Pune. Okay, just to give a sense, and the effort that MCCI has done over the last 1 year is quite commendable. The other area obviously is AI. Everybody talks about it, but AI not only for computer science and IT, but AI in all other curriculum also. Last, we heard Sitaraman sir talked earlier about digital public infrastructure. The amount of jobs that are getting created because of digital public infrastructure is quite amazing. And we are not even teaching what it means and stuff. And we are taking digital public infrastructure global. There are 50 countries which have signed up for India's digital public infrastructure. 12 of them are actively using UPI, and there is huge amount of opportunity. But it is important for academicians to realize that if their students are looking for jobs, you also need to look at opportunities like these where they can fast track and create avenues for students to upskill themselves or skill themselves.
True. No, thanks for mentioning all the three areas, Dina. Very critical ones: the cybersecurity, the AI one. What's the third one?
Digital public.
The DPI one. All right. I'm just going to take 2 comments, and I'm promising you that Dina would be around for some more time. Is that okay to promise? Yeah. And you can interact, including the time management question that skipped because it wasn't exactly industry academia, but I'm sure Dina would have something to share about it. He has managed himself really well because he does like 10 things at a time and doing well each of those. So 2 things. One on the faculty working in industry part of it. I think I'll once again go back to Bharatji because there is a whole lot between you, me, and Professor Sitaraman. We discussed it. And also, I'll be coming after that to Professor Bhagwat. If there is any commentary that you have on professor of practice as a thing, working, not working, pros, cons part of it. If you have any commentary on this. But after Bharat is done, then we'll get back to you. Bharatji is done, then we'll get back.
So I'll just quickly say, Dr. Sitaraman mentioned in the morning in his talk, it would have been missed, or it is important for me to say it again. Before that, Prashant sir has a opportunity for faculty, and they want 5 faculty from different colleges to be nominated by the colleges. Maratha Chamber will take care of their placement in industries, and they would be paid. The condition is that they would not be paid by the college at that time. So the college will have to forego faculty for 3 months, 6 months. We'll have to work out a scheme, but something around that sort. So that is a challenge that Prashant sir has given to us. If you are able to depute, like I have committed one from Vishwadharma, there are others over here. If you can depute one without paying them at our college, then Maratha Chamber will take care of their sort of salary when they work in the industry for a duration of 3 to 6 months. That is a very aggressive policy by Prashantji. I should mention to you all a policy of AICT, which I circulated in the Maratha Chamber group, but I am not sure whether it has reached everyone. Industry and academia both. So AICT has come up with a industry internship policy where a faculty from institute will have to apply. They would be absorbed in the industry for 1 year, and they would be paid 1 lakh rupees per month. Out of that 1 lakh rupees comes from 75,000 from AICTE, and the industry will pay 25,000. So the ask is for the institutes over here to depute people for their scheme. The person will earn 1 lakh rupees per month for 12 months. For the industries, they have an opportunity to recruit one knowledgeable person at a cost of 25,000 rupees per month. So please make use of this theme. Prashantji's theme, I think it's aggressive, but worth experimenting. And I commit to you, sir, from my end. And I invite other institutes over here to also commit. Thank you
So much. Before I hand over to Professor Bhagwat, please hand over the mic. And before Professor Bhagwat, let me mention what you heard from Bharatji. Here is the thing. Faculty should be paid a lot more, first point. Because I don't have to pay it, so I can say it easily. Should be paid a lot more. That's all okay. My dad was a school teacher. I love all the faculty. But there's one interesting thing. When you are engaging for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, whatever limited point in time with the industry, right? If you're already getting paid somewhere else, the industry tells me, gives the feedback that they don't owe me anything. They're not dependent on this at all. So how would it work? So here is my challenge. I'll put 5 faculty in front of 500 companies. If you have something to tell them and convince them, I'll get 500 listeners for you. I'm sure whatever you have to do, at least 5 of the 500 would agree. And they'll pay it and I'll underwrite it if they don't pay you. But we'll create a model of you having taken risk for 3 or 6 months, not even long. And you have your job, permanent job going back, your pension going, everything is as is. But if the institute is already paying, right, there is no incentive left. And it's only from that perspective this was mentioned. So we'll figure out either of the two ways, but we'll start engaging for sure. Professor Bhagwat is heading ICER. I don't know, it's vice chancellor is the designation, sir. I always miss it. Director is the designation. Professor Bhagwat also taught me in ICT Mumbai. Now they call ICT Mumbai. So very keen to hear from you on your views on professor of practice. Is it working, not working, worth trying, not trying?
My take on this may be slightly different than many of you may have said it, but the professor of practice system where they have tried, I found that the professor is not able to teach the undergraduate basic courses, because teaching undergraduate basic courses is an art which needs to be developed separately. Now, that teacher will be excellent when it comes to creating a finishing school kind of courses for those students. That is not something a teacher who is 100% into the college can do. For this, is the change in syllabus possible? Yes, it is possible. And secondly, when you said teacher going to the industry, now we have a vast majority of places where the teachers are teaching 27 hours of a week actual lectures, leaves zero time for them to have the bandwidth of thinking about anything else than completing the syllabus, having the examinations, and I'm not even talking about other duties where they are pulled in. So if we can have the teacher student ratio closer to what is ideal, then it is something which is doable, not otherwise.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir. That's Dina, we'll conclude in a minute, but the last minute is yours. If there's any comment that you would need to give, anything that I missed talking about, and then we'll conclude the session.
I think we have a fantastic ecosystem in Pune, and the chamber plays a very active role. There are a lot of other people who have been actively involved in this. I strongly feel that we should track the demand, the investments that the government is making. A lot of people in academia are not aware of the plan that Niti Aayog, for example, is making, or the economic development plan of Maharashtra, because that gives a leading indicator on what's coming up, and then align a lot of those things. So I strongly believe that while we will do all the investments, a demand-driven academic program, and given the flexibility that we have, I think it can play a very significant role with NEP and other things.
Thank you so much, Dina. Thank you so much for sharing all those viewpoints from practical perspective, as well as you all have been great audience. Thank you so much for listening to it. Many thanks.
Thank you so much for the conversation. I request Mr. Kirbani to please felicitate Mr. Kulkar. Thank you. Moving on, we have a next panel discussion on the topic driving inclusivity in campus and corporate world. We'll give a moment to the MCCI team to please set up the stage. While that is done, the pictures that are clicked from this event, there are QR codes put up on both the gates of MCCI. You may scan the QR code for accessing pictures specifically of you from this event. May I invite on stage Dr. Tarita Shankar, President Designate Indira University and Chairperson and Chief Mentor Indira Group of Institutes. She'll be chairing this panel. Please welcome her with a round of applause. May I next welcome on stage Ms. Rujuta Jagtap, Executive Director, SAS Test Plan Private Limited. Next we have Ms. Swati Ghaisas, Executive Director, Yashaprabha Group. And Ms. Priya Damle, CHRO, Neilsoft. Dr. Tarita, I hand over the session to you.
Thank you very much, Madhura, right? Thank you so much. Very good afternoon to everyone. And this is my first program or whatever it is at MCCIA. And thanks to Bharat for inviting me here. I am pretty excited to come here and moderate a session, which I normally do not do. But I am excited to be with all women over here and hear from you. Um, the topic, before I introduce the three ladies sitting with me, the topic today is inclusivity in the driving inclusivity on campus and in the corporate world. So it's a very diverse word. The word inclusivity itself is a very deep word, diverse word, very vast. I mean, it includes so much. So to put it into a session of 25 to 30 minutes is a very going to be a tough thing for all of you, because I'm sure you'll have so much to share on this topic. But when we talk about inclusivity, I mean, since we are talking about academia and industry interface, we could stick to that, yes. But again, when we talk about inclusivity, for me, it stands right from, like inclusion of the gender inclusion, religion, caste, everything. I mean, there are so many things that today the government is talking, and the even the education is like us. We need to really drive inclusivity in the right direction, in the right way, because in the end, we are influencing young minds. We are driving young minds to go to a future. So inclusivity means something very different at an educational level. But here, of course, we are going to talk about how we can drive this inclusivity between the corporate world and the academic world, and who are the people that need to be included into it. So having said that, let me introduce my panelists for today. I have Rujuta Jagtap with me, who is for 23 years in the field of at SARS plant, and she's also the recipient of the. I mean, I came to know only today. She's also been the recipient of the Indira Excellence Women's Excellence Award last year, and when we had Suniti Chauhan singing over there, and of course, so I'm very proud to have her on my panel out here. And besides that, she's also won many other awards like the Supplier Diversity Leadership Award by Cummins, the WWLC Award for Leading Women in Business for 2 years in a row. And she's also the member of the IACC. I think you are the chairperson, Pune, of the IACC. And of course, she's associated with MCCIA. She's been the first woman president of MCCIA for board member for 8 years, right? And today you are an executive member? Executive committee. So she's long associated with MCIIA, and her her I mean, her USPs are that she believes in gender inclusivity, and she also does a lot for academia. So she's the right person to be on this panel with me. Next, I have with me Priya Damli, right? Priya is the Chief Human Resources Officer, Neilsoft. I think she also has a 25 years experience in the field of HR, and her USPs are talent management, HR consulting, and she's a certified coach for ICF ACC, and her passion for coaching and mentoring individual and teams is seamless. So welcome on my panel today. And the third person I have with me is Swati Khaisa. She's also for 20 plus years in industry. She's the executive director of Yash Prabha Group, Minilec India, Statfield Equipments, and Intech Surface Coatings Private Limited. She's also the executive committee member of MCCIA, and she has recently been mentioned in the Business World Eureka magazine in the most inspiring stories of women. And her areas of her USPs are she belongs to a culture of collaboration and adaptability. I hope I have got these things right, because this is from LinkedIn that the links were sent to me by MCCI, and I have worked on them. So I hope if I missed out on anything or said something wrong, kindly excuse me. Okay, so going ahead with this, a little bit about me. That is Tarita Shankar. I'm the founder of the Indira Group of Institutions. I founded it 30 years back, so 31 years in fact, and we are into education. So obviously, the industry and like institute, academia, or whatever collaboration has been at the back of my mind for 31 years. I've been working on that for 31 years, and I have been at Indira, we've been very successful in driving this, industry and institute collaboration in many different ways, many different ways. And we have 1,000 plus industry people coming on the Indira campus every year, because we are a multi-dimensional group, like multi-institute group, from management to engineering to pharmacy, and 31 years. So I am very happy and proud to say that we have worked very closely with the industry for the last so many years, and which has today helped us also, one of the key factors in becoming a university. We have recently become a university about a month back, Indira University, and this entire the admissions for the Indira University are going to start this year. And collaborating, being with all of you all the time, working with all of you has really been the forte of Indira. And I think many other educationists sitting here will agree with that, industry is like, an industry is one of the important wheels that drives the education wagon, you can say. So without further ado, let us start with our questions. And my first question, since we are talking about inclusivity, is how do you perceive inclusivity in your organization and also in your personal understanding? So any one of you can take this question first. Anyone?
Yeah. So for me, I think though it has a very wide angle to it, the word, I think merit would be the criteria for inclusivity, and I would not limit it to, or I will not. I will say that mandate should not be the defining character for inclusivity. It should be merit, and we should be creating, what can I say, enabling atmosphere so that the deserving merit gets the resources and the opportunities that are available.
Okay, yeah, that's actually quite right, and I think in many places merit is being, like said. Today we have come a long way. Like we used to talk about, inclusivity for women for so many years. I think today, coming where we stand today, inclusivity also stands for the transgenders. It stands for the disabled. It stands for the differently abled. It stands for LGBTQT. I mean, you name it, and it's all inclusive. We need to include all of them. So if we need to all include all of them, I think merit should be the deciding factor, and not just them belonging to some gender or some religion or some caste. I totally agree with you on this point. Yes.
I think I'll just echo what Swati said. It's about not excluding any particular section. To me, inclusivity would be meritocracy, where you get what you're in for on merit, because you deserve it on merit. However, at the same time, you do not exclude any particular section, whether it's gender, whether it's the other genders that we refer to, or caste, creed, religion, anything else. So if, as long as we're not excluding and we're making sure everyone's involved, it's inclusivity.
Very good. Very well said.
So again, I echo the views of my co-panelists, but I would like to add a little different dimension to it as well. Firstly, I look at it, again, meritocracy is extremely paramount, but also what I believe is an organization, like for instance ours, we're more than 5 decades in the business of manufacturing. And the best way to actually evolve and progress is to tandem with all generations. So it could be millennials, baby boomers, alpha, Gen Z, Gen Y. So what happens is you're getting the experience and expertise of the baby boomers, and tandeming it with the energy, zeal, passion, out of the box thinking of the new generation as well. So I think tandeming these has worked for our organization, for coming out with unique ideas and working together, where even tacit knowledge of the older generation, the baby boomers, is actually documented and actually utilized by the new generations to come. So I think that is very important. And for legacy organizations like ours, I think tandeming with all these generations and being inclusive for all these generations, I think is very, very important. Of course, diversity plays a very important role in this. So I think that's how we have, strategized and found that very useful in our organization.
So you're saying that even inclusivity of generational inclusivity is also very important, and I totally agree with her because I am a first gen entrepreneur. My second gen is already ready to come in. She's a second gen entrepreneur, and I think some you also work with your family, right? Your family is also into the same business, so we are all aware, of this generational inclusivity, and I'm so glad that you got this dimension to inclusivity because irrespective of like the gender, it's about generation too, and it's very very important. So thank you for adding this to our knowledge too. It was great, and I'm happy that my sons will be very happy to hear this. Okay, anybody else wants to say something on this particular question about inclusivity, your personal understanding of inclusivity? Would anyone like to say anything about this? Okay, so then we can move on to the next question. And this next question is totally related to the industry and academia, like inclusivity between the two of them, which we did hear initially from Dinana ji and from from Mr. Girbhani. We did hear about this. That's what they were talking about. But going to a very different perspective of it, which Mr. Dinanath, you put it across very nicely. And that was my question. I'm going to split this question in two parts. So my first question is that being from the industry side, you, all three of you, what special efforts have you encountered from the academic world to ensure a strong, sustainable relationship with the industry, pre and post NEP? That is the question. That what has do you find that we are taking any efforts to reach out to you besides the TPO, the placements? Are there any other areas that the academia has reached out to you that they want to be a part of the industry? And the second alternatively to that is what is this question is actually suggested by Rujita. What is your feedback on the current education system and any feedback for the same from the industry perspective? So both are the same, that are we reaching out to you? Are we coming and making an effort to say that yes, we want to be a part of the industry? And at the same time, if we are not doing that, then what is your feedback to us? How do we get in, get more closer to you people?
Okay, I'll go first because the mic's in my hand. So I think there has been a pre-NEP and a post-NEP scenario, as you rightly mentioned. In the pre-NEP scenarios, there were MOUs that are being signed by, of course, academia and industry for doing collaborative work together. Also, there were industry-sponsored projects which were being taken up by academia as well, and internships, training programs, be it summer training or winter training or sandwich course training. All of that was happening with the industry. That was a conventional or pre-NEP, setup. Now let's look at the post-NEP. What has happened is a lot more than what was happening earlier, which I think is a welcome move or a welcome change. Which is, for instance, having industry people on the board of studies. For example, I myself am on the board of studies of Symbiosis Skills University, wherein mechatronics is a course which was introduced much recently, and our industry is. Our core competence is mechatronics, and therefore they roped in people like us from the mechatronics domain to come on the board of studies to shape the curriculum or to tweak the curriculum or to design the curriculum which is in tune with what the industry requires. So I think that is a welcome change that we've seen, where actually the syllabus is autonomous, or it's being actually flexible to the needs of the industry and not sort of outdated. So that is very important. And I think that is something which I see as a welcome move in many of the institutions that I've been associated with. The other thing is, of course, having flexible or multidisciplinary learning along with industries. So a lot of times earlier they used to have lesser interaction with industries, but now there's much more closer interaction, be it longer engagements with the industry, not only from the students perspective but also the faculty. So a lot of faculties are actually also taking up projects and assignments or problem statements from the organizations and working along with their PhD students or their postgraduate students as well. So I think that is, a food for thought, and also a lot of good learning for them as well from the industry perspective. So it's not only this learning from the students, but also for the faculty. I think that is another change which has happened. Also, I've seen incubation centers which have obviously come up all over the country. And I also happen to be on the panel of Bhau Institute, which is incubation center of COEP. And they have actually, we are a panel of industry people who are actually sort of mentoring the startups, who are hand-holding the startups, and who are also actually assessing the startups for the funding that the government is providing. So I think that is another very close engagement that the incubators are having with the industry, which is actively happening with the different incubators that we have in our city and in our country as well. And finally, I think collaborative research projects, as I mentioned, a lot of industry problems are being given to actually academia to work on, and to actually, and they're actually given rewards monetarily as well for coming out with solutions which are actually implementable. I think these kind of collaboration, there are many more, but these kind of collaborations are happening over and above what was happening earlier. So there's closer engagement, but I'm sure there's much more that can take place. For example, one thing which we did was with the faculty of MSBT faculty, we had for the last many years a 3-day to 4-day program which was run for the faculty of all over Maharashtra's faculty coming over to our premises for a hands-on training on our technology. Because at the end of the day, this technology that we are into is not taught in engineering colleges more than a page and a half. So therefore, we actually teach the faculty theoretically and practically, which they then teach their students. And therefore, the percolation is through the faculty and the reach is more. And we've been doing this for years together, and every 3 months we run this program, because that is something, I think it was a government initiative as well. So it was very well received by the industry, and not only ours, but many such, many industries I know are doing this as well. So I think this model should be followed by many. Currently, maybe not everybody is doing it, but I think if they do it, it'll be really helpful for the faculty to be also trained in the industry and percolated down to the students.
Yeah, that's very well said, and I completely, associate with it, and I completely understand with what you said, because at the Indira we have also made compulsory for all the faculties that they have to go and do an internship. It's mandatory. When the students go for their internship, the faculties also have to go for their internships. Nothing less than 7 days at least. So 7 days, at 15 days, 1 month, but it's mandatory now for the last 2 years, and at Indira also. And the faculties must also undergo training at the, the industries. And I think there was somebody who had asked that question, that there should be some training program, for the professors of practice if they want to join the industry, or join the academia. So, if faculties keep going to the industry, automatically there happens an exchange of thoughts, between the people who are already in the industry, and they may get motivated to come and, teach in the, come and do something with the academia. So I think this is a very good move that all the universities and institutes should follow. It's not just for students, but the faculties also see that they do some mandatory, internships at any industry of their choice.
So firstly, you know what, I would like to really thank MCCIA for having invited me for this session, because this is exactly what we as an organization are looking at. So just to give you an idea, Neilsoft, the company that I work for, is a global engineering services and solutions provider. We have a lot of focus on solutions, of course, on services as well, and our domain is multidisciplines of engineering. Now, what that means is we have got some products, which are IP products, Neilsoft products, and one or two points which I'd like to highlight that we've done and done successfully are similar to what Rujita just mentioned. We've actually sponsored a lab and our product, which has been installed on those machines in that lab for the electrical discipline, electrical engineering discipline in one of the colleges, one of the universities rather. And the success rate is good. It's just been 1 year, but we're getting a very good response where it's a software which is similar to what is typically popular in the industry. I won't take names, but having said that, the model is working very well. So we have, if you look at it from our point of view, from an industry point of view, we're getting trained resources after a year, final year students who are, coming to us for placements, and we need that raw material to
Perfect.
be
That's
brought in.
that's the way
That's
forward.
one.
Yeah.
Number two, I think we're very keen to collaborate with colleges even in Pune because we are pan-India as well as abroad. But the experiment that we did was not in Pune, it was outside of Pune. But in Pune, in the past, we've had a very good tie-up with the COEP in the past, but we are talking about looking at, options again because we're going very huge, I would say, in terms of automation, industrial automation. So we've got interns coming to us on internships where not only do they gain experience by way of internships, but they also help us with risk analysis, which means they're doing POCs for us, basis on the reports on the basis of which we really decide whether we need to pursue something commercially. So it's a win-win. And the duration could be anything from 6 months to 12 months. And I was just talking to the academia here, representatives in the audience, saying that this is what we would look forward to. And of course, subject to performance, then we look at absorbing them once their
Very
internship
nice.
is
Yeah.
over. So I think it's a win-win.
Yes.
Something which
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Rujita just mentioned.
Yes.
So in the interest of time, I'll just hand
Yeah,
over.
we have been given a time limit now, so we have to finish in the next 6 minutes now.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
still
post
have a couple
NEP.
of
Okay,
questions.
I'll just make it quick. I think
No,
post
no.
NEP colleges have been approaching the industry. We have received several requests, and I'm working with Garwari College Electronics Department because I am from electronics background. So we have received requests, and we are happy to collaborate with them. We have started defining what we want the colleges to focus on. Like for initially, we have discussed regarding like say PCB designing, which is of our interest, which is not taught in depth. So what needs to be done? So we have given some inputs regarding that. In addition to that, we have college students visiting us to see core electronics manufacturing because we are into core electronics. So this year, I'm happy to say that we had about 20 colleges who have visited us with a batch
amazing.
size of 100 each time. So about 2,000 students who have visited us, and we have given them exposure to core manufacturing processes, specifically targeting some processes that are taught more in theory, like how is PCB manufactured, because we have a PCB manufacturing setup. How are transformers manufactured, what are the technicalities, what is the secondary, what is the primary. So we've tried to give them an insight, and it was a pleasant surprise to see that every batch was accompanied by 3 to 4 faculties. In fact, the HOD from Vadia College had also come with the students. So all colleges across Pune have come. And like you said, because the faculties have visited, now I think it will be more easier talking to them and collaborating because that comfort zone has been established.
Established. Yeah.
So it will be a win-win situation, and it was a pleasant surprise to. In fact, it is something what I heard just now, that if the college is ready to depute somebody, a professor who is technically qualified to industry, of course we are happy to take him, because as an industry person, I always feel, "Kya he's technically qualified. Let him come to me, and let's design something nicely." So I think it will be a welcome. The opportunity, and industry will also be happy to sponsor it. We will not give the burden completely to a chamber or any other college.
Only problem here is that I come from the academic side and I know where the problem is. Them not getting their salaries from the college, could become a problem because there's a continuity issue and all kinds of
Yes,
issues. But
and I think retention also is a challenge because talent acquisition, like industry, colleges may also face. So with giving, I don't know how that can be
No,
worked
we'll
out.
make it work because I think when we become standalone universities where we can make our own, statutes and our own, rules, regulations, I think this thing can become much, much easier. So I'm looking forward to seeing how many of our teachers can go and, take this challenge up
Yes,
from
we
Mr.
will be more than
Girbani. It will
happy.
be
We
good.
will be more
Yes.
than happy.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to skip my now one last question, and I'm coming to only one question, which is as women in the industry for all of us, and all of us are plus 20 years in the industry. As all of you are women in the industry for nearly 20 years or more, what has changed in the perception of working women? A very common question, but we all will have different answers because we all come from different areas, industries, engineering, and like technology, education. So what is it that has changed, what you saw 20 years back for women, and what has changed today for women?
For my generation, I'll speak for my generation. The early generation earlier to me, I think the percentage of working women was quite less. But my generation, most working women, the definition need not be given again because there's a higher percentage of women working. The confidence level has gone up, and we see women working in all sorts of senior positions, technical, non-technical. In fact, last week we've seen, because TCS was mentioned, that we have a woman leader taking up the COO position now. So I think there is no limitation or restriction to what women are doing, and then nothing needs to be discussed because it is being done by a woman.
Lovely. Lovely.
I would agree with you, Swati. I'll only say this, that they say that the earlier 40s is now now the no the other way around.
Yeah,
So the
something like that.
something like that, right?
Yes.
It's the same thing. I mean, you look at the confidence level of a 20-year-old today and compare our generation with that 20 when we were 20. There's a huge gap. So perception is definitely growing multifold for the better. And yeah, hats off to all the women who are joining the workforce.
Great, great, wonderful. Rajita, your take on this?
When I started off my career in 2002, in the manufacturing domain, there were very, very few, at least where I worked in Tata Steel, I was the only person in the functional role. Rest of them were in the secretarial roles. So women were not really getting into the functional roles back in the day, in 2002, I'm talking about. Then I joined my father in business. Again, in the mechatronics domain, again, in the manufacturing mechatronics domain, very few women. Gradually, there was second generation or, successive generations coming in. That's how diversity came in. But now I see a lot of focus. The government has, of course, brought in a lot of incentives and, for women-led organizations. So a lot of actually startups and a lot of women-led organizations are coming up because of the incentives, of course. And that, I mean, that aids their, ideation as well. But when it comes to the manufacturing domain, again, I'll touch upon that because I'm from that domain. I've seen that the diversity has increased not only in the blue collar, but also in the white collar. So rather, white collar was always a blue collar. The shop floor is where I see a lot of diversity coming up, which is very important. There are some companies where it's 50%. Some companies, I know of an MNC, which is almost touching 70%. And one example I'd like to give you, which is of Tata Motors. They have one particular plant which is manufacturing Safari and I think another vehicle of theirs, which is 100% run by women.
The shop floor, yes.
No, not only shop floor, top to bottom, it's women.
Women.
So there's 1,200 women working in that particular plant, and right from all the rungs are only women, and it works 3 shifts. And the highest, in fact, productivity and the highest safety is in that particular plant. So I think kudos to whoever came out with that idea.
Yes.
And so I think we have an amazing example on our home turf, and many could follow this example as well.
Yes, totally. So I completely, endorse this, that the perception has certainly changed, because when I started 31 years back as a woman, things were much, much different than what they are today. And I'm very proud to say that in an academic field, the women are naturally, by per se, women are supposed to be, like very good academicians. They're very good teachers. They are like replacing the mothers, all that thing. And at Indira, we have nearly 60% of the workforce as women workforce. And all my top people, thank you. My vice chancellor is sitting over here, Dr. Anaka Joshi, my registrar, all the top management body is of women. And we are doing a great job. And seeing 4 of us sitting over here, I'm sure all of you know that, yes, India, the industry, the academics, everything in India is in safe hands with the women. So I'm cutting down my question. I'm not taking my last question because we've been given a certain time. But wonderful to be here with all of you, and superb the kind of interactions, understanding from you, hearing from everybody else. I'm sure as an academician, I'm taking back a lot of ideas, and maybe the ideas were already there, but hearing from you, I have put those ideas into a different, file to work on them better and approach you and also the MCCIA for, doing better. Maybe again, we're talking about inclusivity. So I would like to do something more for women force, though we all know that we come from a very different background and we are sitting in different, positions. So we feel that everything is easy as a woman, but we do need to get the women force out. We need to get the women of India out. We need to give them some special incentives and job offers to see that more and more women come out. And as an educationist, we are having a whole lot of scholarships and a whole lot of different sections, whole lot of things, different plethora, for women. I'm doing it for the young girl child, for women also. And to see that I create that women force, which is as strong, and as good as all of us sitting here today, so that they come and work in your industries. So thank you very much. It's been a wonderful session, and I hope we have finished on time. My watch I'm not wearing, 3:50, they gave us a
Yeah.
time.
So is there a
Oh,
minutes?
we
I
still
just,
have 4
yeah, I just
minutes.
have one point to add, if you don't mind,
Yes,
because
of
this
course
time.
you should. Yes.
So I miss mentioning that one very important aspect is we actually, as a company, of course, and many other companies are doing this as well. We're setting up EV labs, IC engine labs in the institutes, in academia, because the
I know.
students shouldn't only be subjected to theoretical learning, but actually practical learning. So we also set up the electric vehicle test systems labs as well as IC engine labs in the institutes. And many companies are doing this, robotic automation labs. So I think that more and more industries should set up in academia, because that is the way the students will get theoretical and practical experience. At the end of the day, implementing your theory to practice is going to be
Absolutely.
useful for the industry. And that's what I think.
Yeah, we're doing that. I mean, I think most of the institutions sitting here and even at Indira, we do have the EV labs, and we do have different automation centers. We have the Apple Lab, and we have now recently started our own incubation center. It's a registered Section 8 company, and my entire Harvard group with whom I studied, they are the ones who are completely supporting that incubation center. So becoming a university has certainly helped me a lot. And like you rightly said, every time we cannot go to the industry because it's so spread out, but certainly we can have some modules of the industry on our campuses where students can get hands-on training on many of your modules, your technologies that you all are running your industries with.
I just thought I'll touch upon the point that you had asked earlier, some feedback,
Yeah, sure.
right? So this is for the academia on behalf of industry. And being HR, I think I'll just take that opportunity to share. So I think one of the points that got discussed was the role of the TPO, and how important is the training and placement officer role. I think from an industry perspective, the TPO is the face of that institute or the university. It's extremely important that that role be taken seriously, and I'd like to be careful in how I word myself, but sometimes what has been experienced is it's a very, the commitment levels earlier, 20 years ago, I've been hiring, I continue hiring even today, but the commitment levels of the TPOs and the overall involvement of the academia when it comes to students was much, much higher as compared to today. I think it's also Gen Z and Gen Alpha, which could be a reason, and the technology and the gadgets that they all have at their disposal. But somewhere when it comes to hiring, involvement of students to, take pre-placement talks or show interest in the kind of companies that they wish to work with, what I experience is, unfortunately, the TPO himself or herself is unable to commit as to how many students would really show up. And that's something which is a big change. I know we are all dealing with Gen Z. We do at our workplace as well, because we manage a multi generational workforce. But this is a change, and therefore I feel that both the faculty connect, which was discussed in the earlier session, and the TPO's role is extremely important from an academia standpoint. So just thought of sharing it.
I'm so glad you shared this because I have Ms. Madhuri Sathe sitting over here. She is now heading the data center at Indira. We have a new data center at Indira. She's heading that. But for last 20 years, she has been a training and placement officer, the corporate relations officer at Indira. And this is the problem that she used to always face, that, ma'am, I have got, we have got 200 offers from this, but I don't know whether they are going to show up for that test or no. So this is something that, completely resonates with what you have said. And it's not a Gen Z problem or something, let me tell you. I have faced this at Indira for last 30 years. So it's been a problem overall. It just changes, the dimensions change, but it is there. And that's why not only the TPO, the entire academic institution, right from, the entire management has to be industry oriented. It's not that we go to the industry only when we need a job or a placement. We have to be with you, work with you, see that you know what we are doing. That interchange on a continuous basis, whether it results in placements or no. has to, become the way of, going ahead. And
I-
that's where NEP is going to help a lot. Yes.
Yeah, please. I would say it's vice versa. I mean, we also need to engage with you
Both of us.
equally,
Both of
so
us.
it's a
Both of us.
relationship that goes on.
Yes, both of us.
I feel that today, both industry and academia both have realized that there needs to be some sort of handholding. Earlier, a little bit of that was missing. So today, both the industry and academia feel that something we need to work together. The students in general, if you see, yes, whatever Gen Z or whatever they are called today, they many of them appear to be very smart because of the data that is available, but that in many cases it is very superficial.
Actually.
So when they come down to the industry and we tell them that you have to work on the shop floor, it's like, oh, this is automation. This doesn't look like that. So that gap, how are we going to get the mindset of the students aligned to what industry wants and what the academia wants to think? That also, I think, is a challenge which we need to address.
Yes, I completely again endorse all that you've said, and I would like to conclude on this note that we should all work including each other in our daily lives. The industry and academia has to be inclined to include each other on a daily basis in their daily lives, not just when it comes to placements or doing some guest lectures and some visiting faculty, but much beyond that. I think that's the conclusion of this session. Of course, I would like to end with saying that inclusivity for me is much beyond this. At an education institution, the basic of inclusivity starts with everybody. Today, with a university, we have made compulsory reservations for women, for specially abled, for the disabled, and for the LGBTQT, all of them, because we want to train them in a particular way so that you will not reject them. You will absorb them, bring them to the same merit as all the other genders. That is my endeavor at Indira University in the coming years. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for being patient. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for that brilliant conversation on the topic of inclusivity. Thank you, Dr. Tarita, for fabulously chairing this discussion. May I invite on stage Dr. Sunil Bhagwat, Director ISER Pune, to please felicitate the speakers. To Dr. Tarita Shankar, you can use this space, please. Dr. Tarita. Ms. Priya Damle. Ms. Swati Ghaisas. And our very own Ms. Rujuta Jagtap. May we request everyone for a group picture, please? Sir, you can join. Thank you, everyone. Thanks. So you may stay back here. We have the next speaker. We now move on to the final panel discussion, which is on the topic skill development in formal education. I'll give a minute to my team members to set up the stage. May I invite on stage the chairperson for the next session, Dr. Sudeep Thepade, Pro Vice Chancellor, Pimpri Chinchwad University. We already have on stage Dr. Sunil Bhagwat, Director ISAR Pune. So may I request you to please take your seats? May I invite Mr. Sachin Satpute, CEO, Edu Plus Now, Mr. Parimal Wagh, Manager, Education and Training, CDAC, and Mr. Rishabh Mittal, Account Director, SAP India Private Limited. Thank you for joining us today. May I hand over the session to Dr. Sudeep.
Thank you. Very good evening, one and all present here. Co-panelist and MCCIA. It is a moment of pride to chair such a wonderful session with all eminent, distinguished people who have proved their mettle in their respective fields. And topic is also very interesting, skilling in formal education. In all formative years of education, students are all the time learning from their books and trying to acquire their knowledge. When we talk about skilling part, skilling is essential because it gives them wings to apply that knowledge in some practical scenarios. So can skilling be a part of formal education and will it be effective? How much efficacy will it be obtaining? Can we get few employment probabilities improved because of skill component getting added into formal education? In short, I just want to say that the journey from knowledge to wisdom, can it be made little easier if we are imparting skilling component during their formal education, when they are in their formative years of education in schooling, in college, and in post graduation. So we will be having the session we have decided unanimously would be in three different sections. Section number 1, each one of us would be introducing ourselves and giving our opening remarks. Session number 2 is little moderated, where questions we are anticipating so that all of us will get benefited from the wide experience and vivid experience which panel has. And session number 3, where if audience has any questions, otherwise we'll be having closing remarks. So I am myself Dr. Sudeep Tepde, acting as Pro Vice Chancellor with Pimpri Chinchwad University. I feel skilling is important because when we talk about the journey from knowledge to wisdom, that is generally made easier for students if we impart skilling in their formal education. With this, without taking much of the time, I would request all panel members to have their opening remarks, and I will request them to introduce themselves. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sunil Bhagwat, Director at ISAR Pune and formerly Professor of Chemical Engineering at Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai.
Good afternoon. Myself, Sachin Satpute. I'm the CEO and Director for Edu Plus now, a part of Vishwakarma Group.
Good afternoon. I'm Parimal Wagh. I'm working as Manager Administration at CDAC, and I'm part of the activities that are taken up from the training perspective at CDAC.
Thank you. My name is Rishabh Mittal. I am heading the education as an industry at SAP India. SAP is a German company, 50 years old ERP company, and we do a lot of ERP for the institutes as well as the skilling for institutes. So this is the perfect forum for us to take the stage and have the industry meets academia as well. Thank you for that.
So can we have opening remarks quickly from each one of you about what is your opinion imparting skilling or making skilling an integral part of formal education?
Okay. So for my personal experience, I'll be the youngest in the group, right? I think my years of experience will be lesser. Sorry, your years of experience will be lesser than my age. But I'm a live example of how skilling can change a career. I firmly believe that skilling is not just skilling in any one domain or any one particular subject or something. Skilling needs to be an embedded forum inside the whole institute, with all stakeholders, right? Be it the institute, be the students that comes in, be it the industry that they roll out to. It needs to be embedded throughout the cycle. I am a firm believer of as well that learning is curiosity. If the students are not curious enough, there will be no learning, there will be no impact of the scaling that we are doing. So I will also end up this remark with one very interesting example. We come up with these cab services that my company provide, right? And this chauffeur, in the kind of job that I am, we do visit customers, and we don't know that will it take 2 hours, 3 hours to complete a meeting, or will it take 15 minutes to complete a meeting. And these chauffeurs, they just wait around, in the cabs, in the parking lots and everything. I met this very interesting chap from Pune yesterday, and he told me that he has no formal education. He was an eighth standard pass guy, a 52-year-old kind of for a chap, and he knows theory of relativity of Albert Einstein. He knows Stephen Hawking. He know everyone. And I was very curious, how did you even, without any formal education, without any skilling? And he just said one thing, the time that I spend in my car, I just read books. And that's where the curiosity starts. So skilling can be anywhere, as long as there's a student or any learner curious enough to have themselves skilled, and we are just part of that stakeholder that we can just enable the journey. But at the end, it's the students and the learner that should be enabled enough to do that scaling.
As my co-panelist has mentioned, it is really a right approach. When I initially started working at CDAC, we had a initiative, one workshop at College of Engineering, where we had the NCVT, or currently NCVT, or the National Skill Qualification Framework chairman. He visited and he guided us. So he was saying that there are people working in the sector who don't have the qualification or the degree, and there are organizations like institutions like colleges who are providing the degree certificates. If we have the infrastructure, we have the professors, can we have an evening or a weekend session for those who wants to acquire that degree certificate, and then he can grow in his career? So skilling has two perspectives. One is he is not from the formal education, because most of them drop out during the career. But once he wants to acquire that, then there should be an opportunity for him to succeed. So that's what I believe, and that's what is the thought process in which NCVT and senior people like Kasturanganji, and they have mentioned this in detail.
Yeah, completely agree in principle with my co-panelists out here. And yes, skilling is mandatory, you can say. Gone are the days. I mean, typically when skill is highlighted in our context or in the Indian context or in the educational ecosystem is post-graduation. The first level when maybe the society, the family, the institution themselves, they expect someone to start, the student to start his or her career. And that is where they notice, okay, there are requirements with the industry, and at times, most of the times, those are not matched by the product which comes out of the typical ecosystem that we have, a conventional ecosystem that we have. And that is where skills is highlighted for the first time in a social context nowadays. Okay, now this has changed in the recent past, in the sense initially good academics could help someone in starting a career with best of the multi or a dream company, what people call it. But year after, or the current scenario, what you see along with those good academics, or even at times, I have examples, even at times where the recruiter doesn't ask for a particular merit or CGPA percentage, what do you call it, but they insist on XYZ skills. If you have XYZ skills, we will be interviewing the candidate. That's where things are going. So of course, the first thing where skills is highlighted is, yes, we require it over there. But I'll really like to add it one more aspect over here with the growth of the nation, what we are posing with right now, the numbers that we are achieving as a nation. I think hands-on skills should be made a practice right from the childhood or the schooling education, which really makes people, or the students, do things on their own. And as they move further in their career, maybe at the graduation level or something, they'll be able to implement those things themselves, doing by their hand. My initial panelists were mentioning certain challenges on the same lines. I completely agree with that aspect as well. And on the other hand, I should say I've been experiencing it not on one, but on multiple occasions out here. So of course, it's very important. And now is the time to decide from where should we start it, at which particular age should we start it. Should it be at the threshold where he is expected, the student is expected to start a career, or should we start it somewhere way behind or way before that? That's my view.
Skilling along with education, I think, will be different when you're talking about a Bachelor of Arts degree or an engineering degree or a commerce degree. For each one of them, it will mean something different. And skills should be both ways: life skills, which are common to everybody, and skills associated with a profession. Now, when somebody goes for university level education, should the aim be only getting a job? Probably no. The aim should be making yourself more knowledgeable, something you can think more about different things. And of course, there is skilling also required if the education is a professional education. And the problem that happens typically is not about skilling at the graduation level. Somehow I feel that our generation, to some extent at least, failed as parents in making our kids be hands on. We think that we are protecting them, we are providing for them by not letting them have to do all that, and they end up becoming unidimensional.
So with these opening remarks, what we have from everybody, it is very rightly said by Dr. Bhagwat that skilling is discipline specific. But when we talk about NEP, even multidisciplinary approach is required. And with MDM and other concepts, we need to skill people and especially students for at least 2 career options in the world of disruptions. So with this, Dr. Bhagwat, how much the Indian education scenario is ready to adapt this multidisciplinary skilling and skilling to be imparted as part of formal education? Maybe it may not completely replace the formal education, but in some percentage. So what are your opinions and how you think could be implementation strategies for imparting this skilling right from schooling days?
See, if you look at the advent of AI and the advent of media of different kind which are available, what we think education today, probably 70-80% can be obtained through those media by the student. The student does not need to go to a place of education for that. So if you want even the real education or the skilling to happen, you have to first focus on who is going to provide that skilling or education. If we have, by and large, teachers who, let's say, if I could not find a job at the end of my graduation, and as a fallback option or as a option which was easier for me, I have gotten into teaching, I cannot expect that person to be giving what the student really needs in his or her life.
Great, sir. So with lot of self-learning platforms which sir has highlighted, and policymakers are coming up with those policies. But while imparting skilling, the training and trainers become very important. So formally, if we can identify the right kind of skills imparted by right kind of people, that would help us. Mr. Mittal has rightly highlighted there should be fire in belly. So sky's the limit if somebody is really desiring. But sir, what is your opinion? How to inspire students and how to impart that fire in belly of students, how to make them understand that skilling is important component and let it be part of formal education, or it is not. There is no upper limit and they should always keep on, desiring to learn some new technologies, strategies, or to acquire new skills. How to make it happen?
Yeah, that's a good question. I define skilling in 3 ways. One is, of course, a new skill, anybody who is taking it up. Then is a upskill, person who is already in the industry doing some career and they want to upskill because the technology is changing every day, the demand of the industry is changing every day. There are multiple economic conditions that are changing every day. So they want to upskill themselves in the same domain that they are. And then there's third, which is a reskill, which is a huge demand today as well. The people who are willing to change the domain of the career that they are building on. But coming back to the formal education in universities and everything, as you rightly mentioned, for implementation as well by Bhargav sir, uh, we at SAP we do a hybrid approach. So we have a platform built, which is a cloud platform. We have almost 5,000 hours of learning, but we made it a self-paced learning by for the students. That was done intentionally because we want the student to learn this technology by themselves, ignite an interest in the this technology. And SAP is not a job, it's a career, because I've seen consultants sitting for more than 25, 30 years of career in the same domain. They just shift from customer to customer, different partners to partners. But this kind of environment that we create, which is a hybrid learning approach, and the students to have that self-paced learning, nobody coming and just forcing them to learn something. That's the way to ignite that fire in the belly of the student, to give them the reality view. And then second, I also believe that there needs to be a counseling rather than just giving options of certificates or options of scaling. There needs to be a counseling sessions for parents, for students, as well as the industry people coming and telling them the ground reality. What was the reality? As rightly mentioned the previous session, right? Ma'am said the students are not even believing that this is the actual job on the shop floor, that they spent 4 years learning a BTech degree or something like that. So I do believe the students or generation that today they are very fast paced. They want things on their fingertips, and they will not stop, or they will not wait for other things or for the institutes to implement these things, right? I have seen students who had fire in the belly, and they just went on different platforms by themselves, even if the university or the institute was not providing them those platforms. So that's one way to look into it. Have counseling sessions, have a hybrid infrastructure built, and then enable the students to enable those services as well.
Great, sir. So to sum it up, what you are trying to advocate is there should be proctored mode, there should be guided mode with lot of encouragement for students, and then the skilling part, if is implemented in formal education, would be more effective. So efficacy can be improved by giving them skilling in proctored and self-paced mode. And as you rightly said, yes, this Gen Z is go and getter kind of generation. So nobody can stop them if that fire is developed. Mr. Parimal, generally, when we talk about skilling, because of NCVT and other thing in Indian context, always it is related in 80% of the time with somewhat, I would say, vocational kind of skilling. Shall it only be restricted to that vocational part, or as Dr. Bhagwat also said, it should be more about life skills, it should be more about learning at least one more discipline than the discipline of formal education? And what are your opinions about this? Shall it be only vocational, or it should be related to life skill and multidisciplinary skills?
Right. So when we are also looking at the courses that we are offering at CDAC, so one is we find that the students are good technically, they are absorbing that skill sets through the kind of assignments that we are giving to them. But where they lack or where they fall back is basically the soft skills and working in teams or working in crisis when they have some deadlines to meet. They have to actually have an approach where they work day and night, like what they see the industry wants, that kind of a student who can work in crisis and who can stressfully handle that particular situation or scenario. So scenarios need to be created, and that's where the life skills will help them. That we also conduct a lot of communication skills, personality building, team building exercises. So these things are very much important when they go ahead actually performing in the industry. So we see that these are the skills that they need to definitely work upon, apart from the technical skills that we are talking about.
Great, sir. So according to you, agility, flexibility, these kind of skills to be focused more, so that when they come in professional life, that will be helping those students in better sense. Sir, you rightly said about the approaches which people are following. in getting these skills acquired. So my question to Mr. Sachin is, sir, whether the online platforms are better to have self-paced learning or adaptation of attempts to acquire whether various skills, or shall it be a hybrid approach to impart those skills among students, or shall it be a conventional classroom based approach wherein skills trainers becomes one of the difficulties? And what do you think are challenges in incorporating this skilling in formal education?
Okay, very wonderful question. Very close to my heart, I should say. To answer the question, keeping it simple, whether online education should be or is it practical in skilling? People might differ with me, but my personal opinion is no. If you really want skills to be imparted, these have to be hands-on. And in my opinion, online education is good. It's not that it's obsolete or it's irrelevant in today's context, but yes, it definitely has its own limitation. If you are trying to understand a concept, evolution of an idea or something, online is the best thing to do. It's at your ease, your convenience. Things are at your disposal. But yes, if I have to sum it up simple, I can always say online is more of an information. Online learning that you do is more of an information. The inputs, the insights that you get in a digital mode is more of an information. But yes, what the industry requires is knowledge. So that rarely can happen in a completely digital mode, or that rarely can happen in an online mode. As you rightly said, the ideal option should be hybrid. Yes, the conceptual theoretical parts definitely, if an option can be considered to be done in a digital online mode. But when it comes to application of certain things, now these things mainly imply or mainly apply to the technical trainings, technical skill development trainings, where a mentor standing next to you or in front of you telling you how to do, and if something goes wrong, someone hand holding you and telling you the right things to do at the right time, that really saves a lot of time, efforts, and most importantly keeps the interest of the learner alive. That's the deciding factor. All of you might agree with me onto this. So yes, it's really a I mean, rather, we are implementing it. The reason I started my answer over here is something close to my heart, is simply because I'm implementing it for the past 5 years at EduPlus now. So today I have learners from around 16 different countries. None of them have visited Pune for the whole session, whole training programs that we have. We have our own learning management system, all those things, that's fine. But when it comes to application part, may it be the programming, coding, or any other aspect of skill development, it is always recommended to be done into a offline mode or a face-to-face mode. The second part of the question, the challenges what the skilling sector faces today, is very honestly, at least I'll answer this question in my context over here, with your permission. Is yes, we do trainings majorly for laterals. Of course, we do trainings for beginners, freshers, what you call it. But at the same time, we have people working into the industry, who my colleague Ms. Mittal, my co-panelist, mentioned, is approaching us for upskilling or reskilling. Now, these are professionals with 15, 20, or even 25 years of experience who want to catch up with the current industrial ecosystem, current industrial scenario. So the real challenge we face is to um, get those insights, what skills the industry actually requires. In other way around, if I have to say, I have to remain one step ahead of the particular requirement, the expectation of the learners that we are really facing. And of course, by some means or the other, we have been able to maintain it. We have been able to have that edge and been able to do it successfully. But yes, as a what I can say, consortium, we are sitting here as an academia and the industrial partners. If some industrial partners are ready to come up to us, or the whole academic ecosystem to be our knowledge partners, it will really be a very win-win situation for all of us. Not only the academia will be benefited, but even the industry will be benefited with ready-to-use resources, or maybe the transfer of knowledge that will happen in this particular scenario will benefit the society at large, in my opinion. Yes.
Great. So at the end, by listening to all these stalwarts, I would just like to put forth my opinions that at PCU we are trying to implement few of these strategies in little different way, rather than giving full credits to only these skill-based things. What have we done is, as sir has rightly pointed out, we have made it in hybrid mode. So it is not only online, it is online supported with proctored way. It is online when student is feeling that there is some hindrance, there is somebody to guide them, to take them a little out of that roadblock, and to make them again run further in online mode. So because it is hybrid, That part is helping, and we are not restricting skilling to only discipline of study which they are specifically admitted to. We have made 10 credits open for them, wherein across 4 5 semesters with their own pace, as this Gen Z expects, they may acquire those skills, they may complete the assessment rubrics related criterias, even if they wish in vacation, even if they wish during their semester, and in respective, I would say, semester mark sheets, it would get credited. And the ERP is supporting greatly in making these credits getting deposited in that respective semester to their account. What are we learning from this is we are necessarily preparing them, as both the panelists, Mr. Mittal and Mr. Sachin, highlighted. Unlearning has become an integral important part of professional life because of disruptions in technologies. Whatsoever we have formally learned, we should be able to even have ability to unlearn it and learn and adapt newer things based on the disruption which we are facing into whichever discipline we are working. So this skilling part will also prepare these kids in future to unlearn whatever formally they have learned and to adapt and acquire new skill sets. With this, we are at the end of our second part. If audience has any questions, we will be anticipating 1 or 2 questions can be entertained. We understand it is fag end of the day and all of you are tired listening to all these panel discussions. If there are no questions from audience end, then we would like to have concluding remarks, maybe 30 seconds or 60 seconds from each of the panelists. We may start with again Mr. Mittal.
Thank you for MCCIA to have this forum where we all can meet and discuss these things. My closing remarks, of course, I echo all the remarks shared that there needs to be multiple scenarios for scaling. My closing remarks will be maybe just a request to the institutes, to the universities, that we have been discussing this for the last 5 years. NEP is not new. NEP has been introduced in 2020, which has been worked even 8 to 10 years before. I have been part of multiple discussions in a similar format for the last 3 years, but I do believe that there has been some back foot from the institutes. Maybe it's the clarity that they don't have how to implement these things, because this is a new war front for them as well. Of course, there's cost involved, there are multiple resources involved, and they want to take a good leap of faith, maybe after everybody has settled down. But I do believe that the bridge that we are talking about from industry and academia, we need to build that bridge sooner, and we need to build that bridge together. But I do want that bureaucracy should be removed. The traditional learning methods should be removed from the institute to leverage these new technologies, the new way of learning, and to cater to the demands of the market, to the students that are coming in the future workforce. So that's my remarks and my request to the all stakeholders here to take that front.
So, to conclude, I would emphasize that skilling is very important in the current scenario that we are looking at. We have something like disruptive technologies coming in. They are actually making businesses to look at the or imagine the business from AI perspective. If we are looking at bringing or bridging the gap, what is required to meet the expectations from the industry, the academia has to inculcate the skilling part also into the academia. Maybe the credits that sir was mentioning, we can have some credits, especially for the skill part of it, and try to bring in these new technologies, new innovations into the process, and imagine, I should say, the education should start imagining the business processes or the education processes itself from the perspective of the new disruptive technologies that are coming in. So that's what I would like to emphasize and conclude.
Yes, to sum it up in short, fortunately now there's a lot of awareness about so-called skill development, hands-on application of concepts and all these things. So that's really good in a social context. Now, well, awareness is definitely the first step. We really have to move up gradually to the next step. Second can be a cohesive effort from all the ecosystems. It need not be expecting something, I mean, the academia expecting from the industry and the vice versa of it. But yes, cohesively doing things together. Ultimately, both the stakeholders are going to be benefited out of it. And yes, we are on the right track, what I feel on looking towards the things around me. But of course, we can definitely increase the pace of with which the things are going right now. We can really speed up the things, and maybe we have certain examples from COEP or certain handful of institutions, but it can be percolated to all the grassroots level institutions, right from the 10 stand, whatsoever you call it, the NSQF parameters and all these things. And I would just like to end my say over here with a single sentence. Yes, we we have to look towards things as said by a famous speaker, Alvin Toffler. He has mentioned a very good sentence, that is the 21st century illiterate were those who could not read and write. The 20th century, let me correct myself, and the 20th century illiterate people were the ones who could not read and write, but the 21st century illiterate will be the people who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So that sums it up for me over here. Yeah.
One point I wanted to add also. We all think in terms of what education should be given, what skilling should be given. We'll think less in terms of whether the student wants to have it. The reason why I'm saying it, in several colleges, you have a significant fraction of students who are there, but they didn't want to be there. And such students, you cannot take any amount of efforts, you cannot make them learn. And if the word used fire in the belly is about the same thing, if there is a fire in the belly, even Ekalavya can learn. Without that, you cannot force a student to learn. So probably once again, going back to raising a kid, the desire to learn, if it is there are ample opportunities for learning skills, for learning information, for learning the knowledge, for getting the wisdom. What is missing is the desire.
Great. From my end, I would like to sum up saying that skills are very important. When we talk about the ability to apply the knowledge which through books and formal education kids are going to get, this ability can be developed, enhanced with help of acquiring and I would say imparting lot of skills through formal education. Motivation would be a factor which will be helping them. Hand-holding through proctoring will be helping them, making them understand whether do they desire or they don't desire. It is essential for them. May improvise the situation. Skilling with reference to life skills is important. When we talk about learning, unlearning, all these skills also have to be imparted. And at the end, skilling will help them to be better team players in better leadership positions. So right from being, self-centered, students would be made more, I would say, altruistic if skilling becomes part of formal education. And it only academia cannot do this. Industry will have to come forward in their own capacity, in their own ways, to support academia in developing and identifying these skilling components for these students who are into that field or discipline of formal education, either due to societal pressure, due to parental wish, out of their wish. Always it is better to support these students with multidisciplinary skilling credits if are imparted in formal education, that whatsoever is of their interest, if you are motivating them to learn something from their interest, then, and if skilling is integrated there, I think it would be a win-win situation for that kid, for society, and it will be helping in great extent for nation building. With this, with permission of every panelist, I thank MCCIA for this wonderful opportunity. I thank wonderful audience. that sitting throughout this session and giving us opportunity to express ourselves. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. So, yeah, please.
Rightly said by Bhagwat sir, I duly confirm. We are missing the most important stakeholder in this forum, which is the student themselves. So my request will also be to involve the student body, have student representatives part of these forums and these discussions as well, so that we know that they are also a part of the journey. They don't feel like this is something just being imposed. Their opinion matters, and because this is the career that they will all be making. So that's the most important stakeholder to be taken care of.
Maybe MCCIA may take note of this. Sir is trying to suggest in Edu Fest 2026, student visits can be organized and student interactions can be organized. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Yeah, please.
Sorry, one last point, which I totally forgot. On behalf of actually Chamber, I wanted to mention this. MCCI had actually initiated this one particular course of EV, which was basically curated by MCCI industry experts and academia together, and was run successfully by Pune University, COEP, and Cummins. So I think that was a postgraduate, a postgraduate course, 1-year course in electric vehicle technology, but it was never a specialization earlier. So something like that, I think, has been already done by MCCI, and many could follow. Many other, institutions should take on this course. It's currently only with 3 institutions, right, Prashant? Yes, UAP, University, and Cummins. So I would urge the other institutes to also take it on, because the course curriculum is already curated by MCCI along with the industry experts. So that I would urge the academia, the other institutions to take it up and roll out in their own institutes. So that's just
Great,
one.
very good piece of information, madam. Not only EV, but in all contemporary technologies, we anticipate MCCIA to come up with many such success stories in coming years. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thanks, Vijita. Thank you to all the speakers for such an energetic contribution towards this topic. May I invite on stage Mr. Dinanath Kholkar, MCCI IT and ITS Committee Chairperson, to please felicitate the speakers. To the session chair, Dr. Sudeep Thepade. Dr. Sunil Bhagwat. Mr. Sachin Satpute. Mr. Parimal Wagh. And Mr. Rishabh Mittal. Thank you, Dina sir. May we have a group picture, please? Thank you, everyone. With this, we conclude MCCI Edu Fest 2025. A heartfelt gratitude to all the speakers who joined today for the whole day and interacted with us on different important topics. A big thank you to all of you for being a patient and engaging interactive audience. Once again, a mention for our sponsors: Vishwakarma University, Blue Ocean Corporation, Centra Job, PCET's Pimpri Chinchwad University, and EduPlus. Thank you, everyone. Thanks to the MCCI team for making this possible. The tea has been served. You may use this time for networking and tea and refreshments. Thank you.